When it comes to the Red Sox, fan expectations are normally set pretty high for the Red Sox. World Series or bust. That's what it was coming into 2022. However, the Red Sox had a slow start, and that has somewhat changed some fan expectations heading into getting halfway into the first week of June. So what does that mean for the Red Sox? Are the expectations different, and what should we expect from the rest of the season? My name is Derek, and I'm here with Luke on Bleacher Brawls, and let's get into it. So obviously, if you missed the game recap, make sure to check it out. But the Red Sox swept Oakland today. They finished a sweep, went it with a 5-2 victory. And they have taken the third wildcard spot in the American League. They are half a game ahead of the Angels, who have lost 11 straight somehow. They are also half a game ahead of Cleveland, a game ahead of the White Sox, and they are a game and a half ahead of the Rangers. So I'll throw to Luke. What's the expectations for this Red Sox team right now?
First of all, as far as expectations go, who would have expected that Angels team to lose 11 games in a row? What is that, 3 straight sweeps? I mean, and you just did, like 2 weeks ago, you just did a video about the Angels are finally legit, and everyone thought they were, and then all of a sudden the bottom drops out of it. Amazing. And now the Red Sox are coming to town. So what are the chances they're going to drop to 15 straight losses? So this could be their turnaround, unfortunately.
And then they play the Mets and the Dodgers after that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It feels like the best time to play them, but it could be the worst time because how long are they going to keep losing? But yeah. So the fan expectations. So it's perfectly clear, after the way last season ended, fans are expecting big things this year. Pretty much the same team came back, and then April happened, and everyone thought, what the hell is happening here? And why wouldn't they? This is a great hitting team, and they didn't hit for essentially 30 days, pretty much 45 days or so. So obviously we were all shocked by that, and no Red Sox fan wants to be looking at the standings in January and saying, and in June and saying, wow, look, we just reached 500. We did it. That's bullshit. That's not how we watch as Red Sox fans. But April did happen. So, and because of that, finishing April, 4 games under 500, and then it getting worse in May, you're in that spot. What the hell are you going to do about it? But this came from a chat, a discussion we were having in our Bleacher Brawls chat, where a couple of people, I said something like, hey, we're 1 game behind 500. This is before Sunday's game against the A's. And a couple of them were saying, what kind of shit is this to celebrate? This is ridiculous. Like, I don't want to be celebrating my team almost being 500. Like, well, April already happened. And I think it's kind of stupid to just think, to just look at the season with anger now because April happened, and just to be thinking about the shame of all of that. And I think it is exciting. They were 11 games under 500 3 weeks ago, I think, maybe 4, and they've gone back to 500. That's one big milestone in my mind, finally hitting the 500 mark. It took them a while to get those last 3 games. I think it's exciting. I think it's a great sign that things are turning around. You watch the games, things are turning around. So I'm excited, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
Yeah, I think I've kind of been on the same thing too. I know some people haven't, but the Red Sox have been 17-9 since the start of that Atlanta series. And once again, they're on a 4-game win streak again. It seems like they had one bad, 6-7 game stretch with the Baltimore 5-game series and Cincinnati 2-game series. And now they're right back on it, right back to, when they've won 4 in a row now, including that last game of Cincy series in this Oakland sweep. The Angels, who have lost 11 in a row, Seattle, who they've already swept at Fenway in a 4-game series. The Red Sox legitimately are turning it around. However, I think it's also fair to pump the brakes on the early season expectations of saying, win the division, World Series, whatever. Pump the brakes a little bit. Like, I'm not saying the Yankees are already 12 games ahead of the Red Sox. It's going to be hard to catch the Yankees. However, at the end of the day, if you make the playoffs, who cares whether you win the division or not? Because once you get into playoffs, there's a 1 in 12 chance of you winning the World Series. And if you reach the division series, there's a 1 in 8 chance. And then all the division winners are there unless the third division winner loses in the wild card round this year because of the whole new playoff format. But there's still, if you don't win the World Series, who cares whether you won the division or not? If you won it, who cares? Because you won it. Like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. The end result is to win a World Series. If you don't do it, who cares what happened during the regular season? The Mariners set the MLB record for wins in 2001. Did they win the World Series, Luke?
No, they didn't. I think they lost in the first round against the Yankees.
Yeah.
It might've been the ALCS actually, but I remember that season very well. I was 19 years old. That's how I've been thinking about it. I mean, look, I did a video on this a few weeks ago. I'm locked into the Yankees, to believing the Yankees will tumble at some point, but it's not looking likely right
It's not
now.
looking good.
Yeah, it didn't look likely for the 2011 Red Sox at this point in the season either.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, they're 12 games behind the Yankees. The Red Sox just swept the A's, but the Yankees just swept the Tigers. They keep on rolling. You know, the Yankees are a runaway freight train right now. But, you know, yeah, but so they're 12 games behind the Yankees. They're at 500 now. They were less than a month ago, 11 games under 500. So are you going to be happy about the second thing, or you're just going to be pissed about the first thing? So, I mean, I look at this team and I see a completely different team as far as, you know, how they're playing and how they're winning games, and it obviously mostly with the offense. And the offense is, last year it seemed to really revolve completely around Devers and JD Martinez and Bogarts. And for much of the season, it was the same, only those three guys have been raking all year and they were still sucking at the beginning of the year. But now, like, I mean, Sunday's game, Franchy Cordero hits an opposite field 400-foot home run. And in my opinion, he has the best at bats of anybody on the team. That includes Martinez. You know, he's working pitchers better than anyone else on the team. Franchy Cordero, the guy, he was sub Bobby Dahlbeck in my mind last year and early this year too. Jackie Bradley, at least at home, has become a doubles machine. Earlier this week, he tied Hunter Renfroe in RBIs, you know, the guy he was traded for. Kike Hernandez is still like around 210, 205.
Yeah, 210.
He was like 180 very recently. You know, Christian Vasquez has been contributing big time with the bat, like 1 to 9. Essentially, this lineup is hitting, and in April that was not happening. So things are turning around. Like, how is this not something to get excited about? And by the way, they're officially in the playoff picture right now. If the season ended today, they'd be in the playoff. So they've hit 500 and they've reached a playoff berth right now. That's not my ceiling. That's not where I want to see them finish, but it's June 6th when this gets uploaded and they're at 500 and there's like 115, 120, whatever games left. Like, I mean, they're trending in the right direction at least.
Yeah. Also too, let's look at it in this way too. The Red Sox right now are on the upswing. Seems like the Rays, Wander Franco's on the injured list. Their best reliever in Feyereisen's on, at least he's been their best reliever in my opinion. He's on the injured list. Obviously, the Rays are going to be the Rays, but they're kind of slowing down a little bit right now. Yes, the Blue Jays are hot. Yes, the Yankees are hot. But like the Angels have fallen off a cliff, like the biggest cliff in the world. They've lost 11 straight. Cleveland's been about average recently. The White Sox are just kind of not really putting it together. And the Rangers, although Martin Perez has been arguably the best pitcher in the big leagues this year, somehow they're still not that great. Like it's I don't know how Martin Perez has been doing it. I'll just throw that out there, but I'm more angry about Martin Perez's amazing season this year than I am about the Red Sox April. Yeah, I mean, I don't think
not more than anything in the world.
Yeah, we could have used that last year, Martin. Thank you very much. But it's this Red Sox team, they're trending in the right direction, obviously. And at the end of the day here with this Red Sox team, this year, their rotation has been solid. There's not the Garrett Richards question. There's not the Martin Perez question. There's not Houck in the minor leagues who really should be called up, but they're not calling them up. They don't have that this year. The rotation's set with Evaldi, Pivetta. When you also have Waka, Whitlock's been all right in the rotation. Seems like he's starting to find his footing maybe in the rotation. Rich Hill's a solid 5. And you also still have Houck in the bullpen, who could be the closer. We don't know, but it looks like they're using him in the back end now. Chris Sale's going to be coming back. Paxton in a couple months down the road. So there's options. And then also too, hold up, the trade deadline's coming like in July and August, the second day of August now. The Sox can always upgrade the bullpen, which has been the big quote unquote weak point of this team. And they can still get better. And we saw it last year, like with the trade for Kyle Schwarber, and also like a trade for even a guy like Austin Davis, a small trade, but it worked out, and he played a somewhat of a role.
The Rich Hill thing is the only thing I kind of disagree with as far as him being a solid number 5. I mean, number 5 being a solid, it's not that hard to be a solid number 5, but and I think they're putting Houck in the back end of the bullpen now because they don't expect, I'm hoping they don't expect Hill to be in the equation as a starting pitcher for much longer. When Sale and Paxton come back, that one of them is going to fill that spot and Hill's going to be a lefty out of the bullpen. But exactly, the bullpen looks really the starting rotation has been fantastic all year, and the bullpen situation is clearly not good. I mean, John Schreiber is literally the one guy in that bullpen that I trust, because Strom's last few outings have just kind of soured me on him. Not soured me completely, but he doesn't come in anymore, and I'm like, phew, at least it's Strom. And the bullpen, I think this happens with bullpens, that I think, you catch a bad start or a bad stretch of games, and then all of a sudden, I mean, when you're a relief pitcher, a lot of times you're coming in and the heat is on right away. You don't have any room to get your feet under you. So I think they're coming in scared and they're doubting themselves. And these guys need to just get confident somehow. I said this on Instagram earlier this week. They need something to kind of give them an identity and to get their mind on something stupid instead of just on how hard their job is. Like the offense has their laundry card whenever someone hits a home run. Do something. What I said was off the top of my head. They should all tape their fists up when they're sitting in the bullpen when the game starts. Tape your fists up like you're going into a boxing match and just sit there, with your fists taped up, laugh at each other, how that's goofy shit, goofy like baseball player shit. And, just try and think of yourself as you're going in. When you're going to go in the game, you're going to knock somebody out. Then you get into the 4th, 5th inning, you get into bullpen territory, you untape your fists, you loosen up, you do whatever. But just have something goofy, something to give you an identity and something to take your mind off of the seriousness of the games that you're in, and just stop thinking so much and go out there and do your thing. Jake Diekman, go out there and throw your 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Don't throw 4 sliders in a row. Danish, just throw your sinkers. Play your game. Do your thing. What got you, dance with what brung you to the major leagues, and stop thinking so much. I think something like that could help the bullpen a long way. Because look, Bloom's not going to go out and get 4 relief pitchers.
There's not the guys available.
The bullpen we have.
Yeah, there's not the guys available to go do it. Yeah, also, I mean, internally, you move move Whitlock maybe to the pen if Salem Paxton get healthy.
Dream.
I've been kind of big saying, hey, Daniel Bard reunion. Anyone want to give that a shot? He's been pretty good with the Rockies this year, and the Rockies don't need him. And he's not going to cost much in a trade. Something small. It doesn't have to be something big, but a small guy like a Daniel Bard, or a guy who's a reliever who's on a 1-year deal, is not an upper echelon closer, but he can giving you some good innings in the back end of a bullpen in the 7th or 8th inning. And the Red Sox, you add in Whitlock, add in Houck in that back end, and then you add in whoever's hot, whether it's Hansel Robles or Strom or Schreiber or whoever it is, or even Diekman if he gets hot, or a guy that comes up in the minor leagues who's a starter, but they throw him in the pen for the stretch at the end of the season. There's options there's options there. The Red Sox just have to figure out what option suits them the best. And that all goes back to, where is this team going to end up? Because if they're bad, you might as well sell, because if you're way out of the playoff picture, you might as well. However, this doesn't look like a team that's going to be way out of the playoff picture by the time the trade deadline comes, based on what they've done recently. And I think that's big to note.
Yeah, they're not going to be out of the playoff picture, and they fought their way in. That's one milestone. Getting to 500 is another milestone. Hey, and the next milestone could be, getting within 8 games of the division. And say that happens by August, then who knows? I mean, look how the Red Sox kind of plummeted just starting just before the All-Star break last year. So could happen to the Yankees too. The division, is it out of the question? Likely, but who cares? Again, get in as a wild card and get hot at the right time.
Exactly. Now the wild card series is a 3-game series. Yes, one team hosts all 3 games, but if you lose one game, you're still not out. And if the Red Sox throw some out like Pivetta, Evaldi, and then Sale, or however they end up figuring out their rotation, they could get through a 3-game series, and then you're in the ALDS, whether it's against the Yankees or the Astros or whoever else, maybe Minnesota if they pass the Astros in the standings. There's still options and still things that can happen for the Red Sox. And in the playoffs, realistically, it's just who gets hot.
You get into the playoffs and say you got Evaldi, Pivetta, and Waka 1, 2, 3, and then in the bullpen you got Whitlock, Sale, Paxton, and Houck. Then
plus other guys too.
Yeah.
No, there's the Red Sox and with their offense, as long as they stay healthy, they'll be fine. Obviously, you need some injury luck throughout the season where guys don't get injured. But however, they also do have the pieces to fill in for guys if when Casas gets healthy. I don't know if we'll see him in the big leagues this year, but you never know. Because we'll see when he comes back healthy. But even like a guy like Jarren Duran, if anyone that plays second base, shortstop, third base, left field, center field, or right field gets injured, Duran comes up because either Duran slots in left field or right field, left field, right field, or center field, or Kike Hernandez moves to the infield and opens up center field for Duran. So they have options. At least they have options if someone gets injured, but you'd rather them not get injured, obviously.
Or you trade a couple of them for Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know if the Dodgers are going to do that now that he seems to be somewhat back to form instead of the 160 he was last year.
There you go. Close with that, Derek. Cody Bellinger is hitting again.
Somewhat. Not the MVP
I'm
Cody
going
Bellinger.
Out on that note.
Not the MVP Cody Bellinger, but he's been good. He's been good, though. He's been good. Not MVP Cody Bellinger, but he's been good enough for the Dodgers with his defense. But I think that's going to wrap it up. That's, the Red Sox, obviously, they have big expectations going into every single season. And I think it's fair to say the front office has a plan for this year. And it seems like, yes, it was a slow start, but if you take out their slow start, they have been good. And I think they're going in the right direction, especially now. You get the Angels, you got the Mariners, and then you get Oakland again, this time in Boston. So the Red Sox could be, 4 or 5 games above 500 after that Oakland series. So they're obviously trying to go in the right direction. That's super important. Make sure to check out everything in the description, the podcast website, Instagram, Twitter, all the crew's Twitters. Make sure to check out all our previous videos. Also, Cedar Rafaela got called up to AA yesterday, so make sure to check out his prospect pipeline that went up last week. And for Luke, I'm Derek. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.